In this tutorial, I'm not really going to go over everything in Davinci Resolve. Blackmagic has a course for that and it's long as fuck. What I'm gonna do is I'll edit a short video where I explain the basics of what you need to know in Davinci Resolve to make a video. You feel me? Let's go.
Well, hello there.
Time for you to get familiar with Davinci Resolve. First, new projects, whatever name you want, and then create project. You'll be greeted to this page. Probably any of these random pages, but come over here to the media page and go to where you have arranged your materials. Always arrange your materials. So I will go over here, import what I'm going to use, do not change. So let's do some movie magic. And bam, we have imported everything and you can see our bins neatly arranged. Go to the edit page. This is where we do our editing. It's in the name. Still, ignore these pages. We'll go there later. Click on the settings. This is your project settings. Project settings is how your video is going to be while you edit it and determine how you export. So, if you had a camera that recorded in 4K, you could select 4K, maybe 60 FPS if you're lit like that, or 90. Highest is 120. For me, I will humbly go to 720p. I know, super low res. Tell that to my CPU. So, we'll come over to our optimized media settings. So you can set proxy resolution to half. Imagine half of 720. Our proxy formats, our optimized media, and our render cache format. So you could just copy my settings, or if you want to set something higher, feel free. Save, and now we have everything set. On our master bin, this is not some technical responsibility of yours. I just like to do it to stay organized. Ctrl N to create a new timeline in the masters bin. Now this timeline has the same project settings as the project. If you wanted to change that, let's say you had multiple timelines, you go to timeline setting, uncheck this, and maybe you wanted to do vertical and landscape in the same project, you could do that. One timeline vertical, one timeline landscape. We are not doing vertical here, so let's import our A-roll. Now, A-roll is the talking head footage. Now, I don't have talking head footage, so let's imagine my character is the A-roll. So once I import my A-roll, I would like to cut out any odd parts. Let's say silences, mistakes. Now, if I wanted to cut it, there are multiple ways to do that. One way is to press B to switch to the blade tool and cut. Another way is to press Control slash to slash. Pretty neat. Another way is to map to a different key. Like for me, I mapped D to cut. When to cut, you can select to delete. Now, let's say I have cut in 2 parts. Now we have 3 clips. If you deleted with backspace, you leave a space, and then that space can be deleted again. If you didn't want to go through that stress, just press delete to ripple delete. For me, I mapped it to X so that I can be faster. So X to delete, Shift X to ripple delete. Feel me? So now we have our A-roll. If you are doing faceless content like me, ideally it's best to edit your audio first. Same applies to talking head. When you import the A-roll, you have the main audio. So that main audio has to sound good. So now let's take mine for example. I've imported the audio. Shift scroll to see the waveform better. Shift Z to zoom to fit. I will crop out this pause in the beginning and I said some things at the back I didn't want to say, so I'll trim that and adjust everything. What you can see is some parts are high, some parts are low. If you were using Studio, you could just AI dialogue leveler and flatten everything, and AI voice isolation to remove all the noise. But not everybody has $300 to spend immediately. So I'll show you a trick to doing that. Firstly is to remove noise and all those unwanted sounds, go to the equalizer, B1, B2, adjust this to remove the low frequency hums and this to remove high frequency noise. Go to number 3, raise it up and come over here to reduce its range. Now once you play back, while adjusting the position of B3, you hear any unwanted sounds. Anyone that you hear that you do not like, you stop there and decrease the decibels. That way it clears it out instantly. Look at this. Editor on the edit page. I mean, I find myself jumping into diffusion whenever I want to do a nice smooth zooming because it's just in Davinci Resolve version 20 and they still do not have a good keyframe graph editor on the edit page. I mean, I find myself yeah, that sound, I don't like it, so I'll go over here, negative, and widen this a little bit. And just like that, it sounds better. Davinci Resolve version 20 and they still do not have a good, and we could find other ones. Let's take 4, do the same thing as with 3, decrease that range and play back. In Davinci Resolve version 20 and they still do not have a good keyframe graph editor on the edit page. That's cop-like sound, that's spacey noise. Let's remove that. So negative and widen it a bit. In Davinci Resolve version 20 and they still do not have a good. So just like that, our good voiceover sounds better. Listen to before of version 20 and they still do not have a good keyframe graph, and after of version 20 and they still do not have a good keyframe graph editor. Perfect. I mean, after this you can decide to add your audio effects like dialogue processor, dehummer, de-esser, maybe if you want to add some distortion, maybe some extra noise reduction. But for me, this sounds alright. So once that's done, I will now add my B-roll. So for me personally, I like to use memes as my B-roll, as all of my B-roll. But it's good to also have a B-roll folder with B-roll that matches whatever vibe your video is going for. So first, let me add my PNG, drag it to span across the timeline. And now I add memes to match the vibe. So that's why I have 2 meme folders. I don't know why I have 2 meme folders. So let me show you a trick to importing memes. There are sometimes you need only the sound of the meme, and there are sometimes you need only the visual of the meme. So let's take for instance, I only needed the visual of this meme. I could double click, see the preview, and then take just the video. Or if I had a different meme that I wanted just the audio, like this one, I could just double click, come over here and drag in just the audio. Now as you can see, this is long and it said a lot of things here. If I wanted just a small part, I would come here, drag the playhead, press I for in point, and O for the out point. And just like that, if I import, it's just that small section. Same applies if I'm importing just the video. or just the audio. So with Movie Magic, I'm going to import all the footages because I don't want to record all that. Boom, Movie Magic done. Now, as you can see, I have dropped all the B-roll on my timeline. You see this? When I select this video, the audio gets selected. That's because they are linked. Linked media means when I change one, it affects the other. If you do not want that happening, just simply right click and unlink. And now it really affects this one. So I'll just link them back because I like them staying together. So next thing is this character. It has a black background, but I want to give it a different background. So what I'll do is highlight everything, hold shift. The reason why I hold shift is so when I drag it up, it only goes vertically. It can't go left or right because I'm holding shift. Very good when you need it to only move in one direction. Now I'll come over to my animated backgrounds, pick one and drop it here. Oh, I can't extend it because that's the maximum. So that's why I get that red highlight. So hold Alt and drag to duplicate. Now I have a copy of it. But I just noticed something. It came with its own audio. I do not want that. So Shift, Ctrl Z, double click, come over here and just drag the video file. And now we have a good background for my character. Personally, I would also animate the character fully, but I'm recording a quick tutorial, so that would be for another day. If you want to see me make it, it's not about if you want to. I will eventually, maybe like 2 months from now. Now right click, delete empty tracks because we don't need those empty tracks. Now as you can see, we have a somewhat scavenged video.
We're in 2025 in Davinci.
You hear that? That is lag. Davinci Resolve shows the frame rate on top, showing how fast it is running at the moment. So one way to fix that is to just come over here and set to quarter and switch to proxy. So proxy media is something like this. This video has a proxy, but as I switched it, this sign shows here, but this doesn't. None of these have. I could start generating proxy for them, but we're into the
We're in 2025 in Davinci Resolve version.
So next thing we'll do is animate, because what's a video without some movement? So the video is about me ranting about how Davinci Resolve is shit. Not that it's shit exactly, but the keyframe is just bad. So let's enhance this a bit. So with some movie magic again, I'm going to cut up this white background because I do not want it here. So movie magic. Let's make some changes. First change I want to make is to zoom in to this Davinci Resolve 20. So I'll come to the first frame. I'll set a keyframe on the zoom, then press the down button to go to the last frame. Well, I'm going to the next clip, but I'll just, yeah, so that's the last frame. Set another keyframe. Tap, click on this. This shows the transform handles. This is the anchor point. So I wanted to zoom into Davinci Resolve. So I'll set that as the anchor point. Go to the first frame, set the zoom level I want it to be, and then head on to the last keyframe, and I'll just zoom in more from that. And that way, when I play it back,
25 in Davinci Resolve version 20, and they still do not.
So just like that, we have animated. If you want to ease in or out like you do in other softwares, simply click on keyframe while selecting the clip. Once these two are highlighted, click on this and you can see the curve. You can select the curve to ease it in or ease it out, but nobody uses this, honestly. Next thing is adding text. So this part, I want it to be a meme of some sorts, where Gordon Ramsay is like, where's the good editor, where's the good keyframe graph? So go to effects, titles, text plus. You could use anyone, but I just generally like text plus. So first I'll trim it to fit Gordon Ramsay's first part.
Good keyframe graph editor.
I'm going to add a marker. A marker allows me to know where something is without me watching it through every time. So I see that from this part the frame changes. So I'll put a keyframe here to know that this is a new scene.
Editor.
And I'll do the same thing here. And now I can easily trim this to clip to the marker. So come over to text, change it. Now the text is looking alright, but I will change the font to Poppins, and I want it to have some drop shadow. So I'll go to shading number 2, highlight it. Now this is a business stroke, but one thing I can do is change it to color black and adjust the softness. Let me increase the resolution so you can see it well. And if I adjust the thickness, I just change how dark it is. So you see we have drop shadow. Now that I've done this, I can Alt, hold, and duplicate. And with Movie Magic, I'll do the rest. Just like that, I've added text to make my meme more funny.
On the
Hopefully.
Page. I mean, I find myself
So
jumping.
I will add some text to some other parts that I want to. So before I add text, let's talk about cropping. For example, this is full screen. I don't want this part to show. I just want this horrible keyframe graph editor to show. So I'll go to the crop top, and boom. Then I'll open the transform tools, scale it in, bring it down, and stretch it to make it look more memey, something like that. So ideally, our next step to this simple video's completion is some music. So media pool, sounds, background music. I have a lot of it. I will go here, pick something random. Now I will reduce the volume because I don't want it overshadowing my voice. Cut, delete, and now background music has been placed.
We're in 2025 in Davinci Resolve version 20, and they still do not have a good keyframe graph editor on the edit page.
Honestly, I think it fits. For sound effects, you could add sound effects the same way, but I don't need sound effects in this video. It's just too simple. So after all this, I think it's ready for export. If I was doing some motion graphics, I would do that in the Fusion page. That will get its own video. The color page will also get its own video. And as for the Fairlight page is kind of a niche video. You could do most of what you need on the edit page. So the delivery page for export, simply choose a file name. So choose a location. As for me, I'll use edit export, and then choose if you're exporting as audio or video, MP4, H.264, whatever encoder you want. You could change the timeline resolution. you could edit in 720p and export in 4K. That's for my fellow low PC users. Frame rate doesn't really stray far from the timeline. Bitrate variable is preferable. For 1080p, I'll use 8000. This is 720p, so I'll just drop it to 6000. Preset quality and auto render queue. Oh, let me take this back down. Auto render queue. So if you do not want to do these settings every time, you could come over here and create save as new preset and choose a name for it. Hopefully with that you can start learning Davinci and making more complex stuff. And if you want to learn those complex stuff, consider subscribing. I plan to start posting more Davinci tutorials. I can't fit everything inside this short 20 minutes-ish video. So see you next time.